I'm just here. I'm just here photographing.
Are you okay?
I'm not part of the group. I'm just here photographing. I'm a journalist.
Hey, God's house is the house of the devil.
Yes, Don Lemon and one of his radical extremist mentally ill friends, William Kelly, a bearded loon attacking the church in St. Paul, Minnesota, because, ICE might arrest illegal alien child molesters. And the Democrats want to make sure that the illegal alien child molesters are loose on the streets because they want more of that. The convicted murderers. And remember the guy who was from Brazil that broke out of jail in Brazil? He had been convicted in a mass murder. I think 12 people were murdered, right? And this guy was involved in the mass murder. And the Brazilian illegal alien came into the country illegally as an illegal alien, which is illegal. And he made his way to, I think it was New Hampshire. He was working at a family's house there. And ICE found him, and the Democrats were very angry. So wait a minute, the guy was law enforcement in Brazil. He was involved in a massacre of about a dozen people. He was convicted. I think he was given more than 700 years in prison. And he escaped from prison in Brazil, came to the United States, working at a family's house in New England, and he was arrested there. And the Democrats were very angry because, they're not smart people. They're not good people. But let me get back, because the guy yelling, "This isn't the house of the Lord. This is Satan's house." He's a Democrat radical protester, and he was arrested because of his attack on the church. He was part of that mob that attacked the nice church in the middle of church services because they claimed that one of the pastors there is also an ICE agent or employee or something. They weren't really sure, but it doesn't matter because their brains don't work as designed. But the headline from January 23rd, anti-ICE Minnesota agitator arrested days after daring Bondi to do so. That's the Attorney General of the United States, Pam Bondi. William Kelly arrested after harassing churchgoers on camera, daring Attorney General Pam Bondi to, quote, come and get me. Come and get me. So they went and got him. And William Kelly, one of the anti-U.S. Immigration Customs Enforcement agitators who disrupted a service at City's Church in St. Paul, Minnesota, on Sunday, has been arrested. This is last week now. A third subject has now been arrested, connected to targeting City's Church in Minneapolis Sunday. William Kelly. He's been involved in loud radical protests in Washington, D.C. and elsewhere. He's a radical. He looks like a mountain man from Jeremiah Johnson or something. He's got a long beard and bushy facial hair and long hair on his head, and he wears a knit cap pulled down his head. He looks like a homeless person, but he's just a Democrat in good standing. He's now in custody, FBI Director Kash Patel declared in a Thursday post on X. Now, I just want to, he's a perfectly typical Democrat, and he's been arrested a couple of times. He wears a knit cap, like a watch cap, and it says, beep Trump on the forehead. It's got the F word, which he likes very, very much, like a little child. And he's got this, he wears doubtless a stolen jacket with orange reflective stuff, and he wears a black knit cap with beep Trump embroidered, mind you. It's not like a bumper sticker stuck to the hat. It's sewn in to the forehead of the hat to F Trump, all spelled out. So I think we know how he feels about Trump and about decorum and decency. But I want to play for you a bit of audio because this guy who's a run-of-the-mill Democrat, William Kelly, and he was arrested, and then he set up a GoFundMe page for himself. And he raised, because Democrats are mentally ill, he raised more than $100,000, he says, and, 6 figures that people gave him because he's a mentally ill criminal who wants murderers who are illegal aliens loose on the streets of everywhere in America, from Minneapolis to Arizona, for that matter, where an 84-year-old woman was kidnapped from her home. Nancy Guthrie, the mother of Savannah Guthrie, 84 years old, and she's missing, and it doesn't look good. signs of violence and forced entry and blood in her home, and very bad situation. But let me get back to this William Kelly guy, because we knew about him in Washington, D.C. as a radical, as a leftist. Again, a big, long mountain man beard, and which is great. And he shows up at all these protests, and he's very loud. And he was at the church attack in St. Paul, Minnesota, about a week ago, and he asserts that all these pretend Christians, all these comfortable white people, he's a white person, of course, one of the whitest people you've ever seen. He says, all these comfortable white people are living lavish, comfortable lives while children are dragged into concentration camps. They all use this rhetoric, and I've talked about this for years. They make the stuff up, they say it out loud, and then they end up believing the things that they just made up because of the brain damage. Now let me go to this guy, Democrat protester William Kelly, because, again, he... And just check out the mental illness of these people. And these are the ones blocking streets in Minnesota. You see them barricading streets. They brought, wood piles and orange cones that they stole from places. And they block streets, and they stand there, and they run your license plates, they say. And so they got friends in the police, and they got friends in these chat rooms, have elected Democrat officials on them, looking to sabotage the United States of America and our constitutional republic, and the police and law enforcement on a federal level, state level, and local level. But here's William Kelly, because now, again, he's been arrested before for his radical idiot protests, and then he was arrested for the attack on the church. He goes on the internet as Da Woke Farmer, D-A space W-O-K-E space Farmer, Da Woke Farmer, William Kelly. And it turns out that he was arrested, and then he set up a GoFundMe page, and he raised six figures, right, more than $100,000. And then somebody on Reddit made an online internet, website, whatever, and they went on Reddit and said, oh, this guy, William Kelly, he's skimming money. He's just taking the money for himself, which is true, of course. And that made him lose what's left of his mind. So here is William Kelly, Da Woke Farmer, a notorious protester, left-wing protester, who's pro-illegal alien, gang member, child rapist, murderer, and anti-law-abiding citizen. Here is William Kelly. He posted this video himself, very, very angry because some random person on Reddit said something negative about him. Here is Da Woke Farmer.
My wife just showed me a Reddit post talking about me, saying I came to Minnesota for clout, for profit, and that I'm taking away from the local organizations. Are you kidding me? Do you not realize how many local organizations we support every single day?
We support.
Do you not realize how much I've sacrificed? I have been protesting every single day since October. I've been beat down, arrested, shot right in the face with a OC cannon spray. I've had a knee on my neck. I'm facing 10 years in federal prison for supporting a local organization's protest. And you're telling me I'm taking away from what Minnesota's doing?
It's he's got a wife. Well, let's just start with that. Goes the old line, the generosity of women will never cease to amaze me. Some woman has decided that William Kelly is the right guy for her. And, and there he is. He's Da Woke Farmer. We support, and he's screaming, he's angry, right? He's been protesting every day since October. Don't have a job, I guess. And, again, the wife must be a piece of work, too. But very upset because somebody on Reddit, his wife, his very, very generous wife, told him, or demented wife, told him that somebody on Reddit said something negative. So he had to post a video of himself saying all this stuff. And again, he really likes the F word. It's embroidered on his hat, on his knit cap in the forehead, just above the word Trump, the name Trump embroidered in his hat. And beep Trump is on the thing. And then he's in every sentence you must have the F word at least once, sometimes twice. Good stuff. And really, it's just Reddit. You know, people say negative things about me on the internet. I know that's hard to believe, but people do. And I don't actually notice them. I'm completely unaffected by these things, but I guess I'm not William Kelly.
Every single dime I spend is going back into the community. I share fundraisers for local organizations every single day, but I'm taking away from the community. I'm a Minnesotan now, mother. I love this place. I love this how you resist. I love your community. That's why I stayed here, to show what's happening here, to show the rest of the world, to use my influence to show people how you know how to resist already, how you're building the framework for the revolution.
He's got influence, and he's building the framework for the revolution, and he's showing other people how to build the framework for the revolution. The Democrat Party is building towards civil war, to all out civil war in the United States of America. And they keep talking about it, and, you know, the revolution. And again, I shared with you something that nobody else is sharing with you. The organizations that made the signs for the latest go-round of protests in Minnesota, and it's another communist organization, another literal communist organization. And I told you that we had the Party for Socialism and Liberation, and that I went to their website, and they're death to capitalism and death to the United States, and they're all out there in the streets. And now the Socialist Alternative, they have made the professionally made signs. They're protesting against Target, the store Target, because the Target store in Minneapolis allows ICE to use their parking lot. And that is enough to, now we've got to burn down Target and boycott everything because the mental illnesses, right? And this guy, he's building a revolution, and those guys also, they're communists, and they're anti-capitalist, death to capitalism. They call it socialism. The Soviet Union called it socialism, too. They're communists, and they want to steal everything and bankrupt the country. We're already $38 trillion in debt, and it would take us 1 million years to pay it off, but we're not paying it off, so I guess we don't have to start the clock on that. Isn't that amazing? And so this guy he's got a wife, amazing, and we support all the local, and it's a revolution. The revolution is coming, and this is the mental illness that we're dealing with here. Every day since October, he's been protesting, and somebody said something on Reddit, so he had a mental meltdown, and he's still having that meltdown.
So anybody that's hating on me for raising over $100,000 while I was in jail because I need a defender, I need a lawyer, you know how expensive a federal attorney is? So you. You for saying that. I love the people. I do this every single day for the people because I was a history major. I know what happens next, and I'm scared. So if you want to say I'm doing it for influence and profit, for one, I ain't profiting, and for two, you.
He seems a little emotional, doesn't he? I think you think his mom's proud of him. I think maybe his mom is proud of him. Man, oh man, and that's because he's anti-ICE, and he's got a GoFundMe page, and he just said there more than $100,000. Somebody noticed, and he's making a living. They're all making a living, and it's a fundraiser thing. Idiots can give him money if they wish. But there it is. It's the revolution, and he's funding the revolution. He's organizing and orchestrating the revolution, and isn't that amazing? Yes, it is. Yes, sir. He's a well-known protester in protest circles, and I'd say that he's a mentally ill communist. And there is a woman that, well, at least that he calls his wife, that pointed out that somebody said something on Reddit that was critical of him, apparently. And so his Democrat colors came out to fly.
You have to use so many cuss words.
You!
Let's go to the telephones, Michael. I've got a story for you about a Biden judge overturning something President Trump is doing. And you're going to love her. She's coming up. But let's go to the telephones. Let's go to Tsunami Tom, calling from Lorton, Virginia. Tsunami Tom, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Good morning, Chris.
Hey.
I love starting my day off with you. You're so funny. Love it, love it, love it. Well, first of all, I would like to say I think you're being a little insensitive because that gentleman who's screaming at the top of his lung, you can't assume his wife's gender. So please, be a little bit more sensitive about that.
Fair point. Fair point. You're absolutely correct. I apologize to all Democrats who are all suffering from gender dysphoria.
Correct. Thank you. I appreciate your sensitivity there. Secondly, I'd like to point out an obvious fact that I think everyone has already seen, but just looking at these people that show up at these protests, they're not the prettiest people in the world. I mean, they're not tall, handsome, strong like I am. So I think there's a little resentment there, right? I think maybe there's some frustration in the central region. Just kind of spitballing here that might be something to take a look at for them to, get some of that aggression out in a different way. Let's just say that.
Maybe we should be funding surgeries beyond their genital surgeries and maybe some cosmetic surgeries, and then they could feel better about themselves.
Maybe.
Because you're right. Not everyone can be tall, handsome, and what was the other part?
Strong,
tall, handsome, and strong. Right. And yeah, that's true. It's true that they're not a good-looking bunch of people as a rule. And you think of Minnesota people as a rule as being pretty good-looking Americans, right?
Well, it's cold, so I don't know.
A lot of clothes.
Maybe the hot ones have left. The hot ones might have left. Nothing against Minnesota, but I don't know. I think I'd rather be in Florida if I'm tall, handsome, and strong. Or Northern Virginia. I'll take Northern Virginia.
As well, Northern Virginia as well. At least Lorton, yeah. That's funny stuff. Yeah, Minnesota was always Scandinavian people. It was settled by Scandinavian, but now I guess it's kind of Mogadishu on LSD.
I wouldn't insult Mogadishu, please.
Honestly, it's So what do they call it? Minadishu. It's that the Democrats are making everything better. It used to be Minneapolis.
I had one more thing for you before you go to break because I know you're coming up against it. I hate that the Republicans in Congress never take advantage of their power. I would recommend that they do single votes on the following. Vote that it shall no longer be required to enter a federal building without an ID. Vote that it shall no longer be required to board an airplane without an ID. Vote that it shall be required that you can pick up your mail at the post office without an ID. And then vote that it shall be required not to have an ID when you vote.
I think that is an excellent plan. You're right about the Republicans. They need you. They should hire you, and they could hire me too. The Democrats love to call everybody racist because of their history of racism. But the Democrats have a person in the House of Representatives named Dem Thanedar. He's a Democrat from the Detroit area in Michigan, Detroit and surrounding environs. And he's a radical and he's a leftist. And if you look him up, he focuses on radical left-wing, anti-American, un-American. Universal health care, that's socialized health care for the whole country, like a third world hellhole where nobody goes to get better health care. But he increasing the minimum wage and lots of money for education because it's Democrat Party propaganda and all that stuff. So that is Dem Thanedar. And Dem Thanedar at 6 a.m. today was on CNN. And he's very angry. He's a very angry person because he says that ICE is hiring more people, with the millions and millions of illegal aliens in the country. And therefore, if they're hiring people, they're hiring racists. Now, how does he know they're hiring racists? He doesn't say, and the CNN anchor doesn't ask. But here is Democrat racist Representative Dem Thanedar.
I brought a bill in Congress to abolish ICE. So
clever.
ICE, as it stands, cannot continue. We got to reform this. Their hiring practices are horrible. They're giving $50,000 signing bonus. you see a lot
That's
of
terrible.
hate against immigrants.
Hate.
So they have acquired some 10,000 ICE agents. They have hurriedly hired them. They haven't been trained properly. And looks like their hiring practices encourage people with racist attitude to join ICE. And this whole rogue agency need to be ended as we know it.
Yeah, the CNN anchor says, in complete agreement. Yeah, the whole agency needs to be ended, and universal health care and lots of free money for people that haven't earned it, because that's what we do. Increase the minimum wage. These are commies. These are not regular Americans. He's, of course, from India. He's born in India, and he came to the United States, and he's been successful, fiscally speaking. And he became a member of the Democrat, member of the House of Representatives, where he wants to make our healthcare system communist and drive the minimum wage to a point where nobody can hire anybody for entry-level jobs. And he says everybody's racist. I guess a $50,000 signing bonus is racist. Is that what it is? And somehow they're hiring people that are racist, like the two Latinx men, the two Hispanic men that were attacked by the white supremacist, Alex Preddy, who's the hero of the Democrat Party's story, because Alex Preddy was shot and killed while fighting the police again because, the Democrats, a single death is a tragedy, 1 million deaths are a statistic. I think there have been 1 million deaths in Chicago since Alex Preddy was shot by federal law enforcement while he was fighting them. But that's your Democrat Party, and it's racist, and a $50,000 signing bonus is racist, and they have a racist system for hiring people. And the CNN anchor just agreed, didn't ask, well, what evidence do you have that practices are racist? That didn't come. They just hurl rocks through windows and say everybody's racist, right? And that reminded me of another story today. A Democrat judge appointed by Joe Biden to the bench, Judge Anna Reyes, just ruled Trump can't end temporary protected status for 350,000 Haitians due to racism. That's what she said. It's a race. Well, Haitians are from Haiti, right? And if you're going to return Haitians to their home country, then it would be Haiti. But that would be racist, according to this Democrat Party judge, because they're all mental. And I said, well, Judge Anna Reyes, who's that? I don't know her. What's she all about? And it turns out that Judge Anna Reyes, she's from Uruguay. Now, Uruguay, well, we should send her back there, I think. But Uruguay is a country where my best girl and I went on vacation. We went to Uruguay on vacation. And it's so terrible that if you're from there, that you need temporary protected status. And then the temporary protected status lasts for 30 years. And that's just fine, because the word temporary is confusing to them. They don't know exactly what to make of that. But Judge Ana Cecilia Reyes, a Uruguayan-born American lawyer, served the United States District Judge, the U.S. The District of Columbia. That's where I live since 2023, and she's from Montevideo, Uruguay. And again, go on vacation. She should go back to Uruguay, I think. But isn't that amazing? Federal judge temporarily blocks end of protection for Haitians in U.S. The ruling pauses the Trump administration's plan to end a program that has allowed more than 350,000 people from Haiti to remain in the United States from Haiti. And, barbecue, they got barbecue down there. He's the head cannibal in charge of one of the gangs there. And the Democrats say, you know what we need? We need more cannibalism in the United States. In fact, we had a cannibal Democrat bite the finger off of a federal law enforcement agent just about a week ago, bit his finger off completely. And the Democrats, they've resorted to cannibalism, and they want more cannibals here in the United States because Democrats. Isn't that amazing? And Haitians, we need more Haitians. And, hey, if Haiti sucks, maybe you should go back there and make it better. Maybe you should fix it. Just saying. But the judge says racism is the answer, right? And the Democrat member of the House we just listened to, he's from India. This lady's from Uruguay. And they come here and call everybody racist because we have immigration laws, because we have a border, kind of, sort of. The Democrats are anti-border. This is the Davos one world, flood the United States, bankrupt capitalism. And the Democrat Party, they are the bad guys in all of this. Yeah. Judge Ana Reyes ruled Trump can't end temporary protected status 30 years later. 350,000, more than 1/3 people from Haiti. I don't think there are 1 million people in Haiti. There might be. Again, we vacation next door, my best girl and I, the Dominican Republic as well. I'm not sure I'd recommend that going forward. We gave it a try, but not the best thing. Yeah, but the judge denies bid to end protected status for Haitians as ICE fears loom. It's the old fear thing because they're very afraid. They through legal status granted because of natural disasters and armed conflicts in their home country. Well, we'll just take 350,000 people, and we'll call it temporary protected status. And decades later, never mind. And this Democrat Biden appointee judge from Uruguay, a scathing 83-page ruling issued Monday evening last night. U.S. District Judge Ana C. Reyes sided with a group of 5 young Haitian adults who sued the government, claiming officials sought to end temporary protected status only 30 years later for them without adequately determining whether conditions had improved in Haiti. Conditions will never improve in Haiti. How about that? Which is racked with political and economic instability along with gang violence. Well, maybe the United Nations or the Clintons or somebody should do something about that. What do you think? Aren't they dazzling? Yes, they are. Our Democrat Party, and these are their judges, right? And they are. They're both, they're one Democrat member of the House and one Democrat Joe Biden appointed judge. And, oh, yeah, by the way, I forgot to fill you in because I looked up the judge, and she is the first. They're very excited. They're very excited to announce that she was the first Uruguayan, because Uruguay only has like 14 people, the first Uruguayan to hold this position, and she's the first openly LGBTQ Uruguayan to hold the position. Judge Ana C. Reyes from Uruguay. And the Democrats are very, very excited to say, oh, yeah, well, Judge Ana C. Reyes, she's the first openly LGBTQ and the first Uruguayan. Therefore, you cannot be critical of her because she likes ladies. I like ladies the same way that she does. But this is your Democrat Party because, you know what's important is genitalia and all of that. And she has a Wikipedia page. She's born in 1974. Uruguayan-born American lawyer, served as U.S. District Judge for the District of Columbia since 2023, nominated to the position by President Joe Biden, and is both, listen to this, these are her qualifications, both the first Latina and the first openly LGBTQ person to serve as a district court judge in Washington, D.C. I wonder if we've had the first foreign-born Latina Uruguayan LGBTQ person to hold a district court position in Wyoming, because someday that'll be the headline. She's the first openly LGBTQ Uruguayan Latina to hold the U.S. attorney position in Wyoming. Wow, we can check that box. That's not a double entendre. That's not a play on words. I'm just saying that's the thing. But she's LGBTQ, and that's very, very good. And I'm not kidding when I say I looked on her thing, and she attended Transylvania University, Transylvania University for her BA. And then, naturally, because she's an LGBTQ Uruguayan who went to Transylvania University, she then got into Johns Hopkins University for her MIPP for a master's, and then, naturally, to Harvard for her law degree because she's an Uruguayan LGBTQ, and that's really all you need. That's a thing. She's got a picture of herself here with her dog. Dog looks like it's crying for help. Help me, the dog is saying. Looks like a Labrador Retriever, and it looks like a desperate Labrador Retriever. Isn't that amazing?
Like, oh, sure, he went to Harvard.
Well, it could be he. That's, I wouldn't want to judge from a distance. All right, let's take a phone call, Michael. Let's go to, let us see. Let's, hang on. Let's go to Len, calling from Macon, Georgia. Len, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Chris, greetings and salutations, sir.
Welcome.
I know you have short on time, but I want you to consider the misuse of a term that we commonly use. Being a son of the South, I like to refer to it as the War of Northern Aggression, more commonly known as the war between the states.
Sure, yeah.
So the concept of Civil War kind of naturally sticks in my craw, as you might imagine.
I love it.
As the definition is.
I always loved the War of Northern Aggression. That I've got to say is my favorite. The war between the states is good too. But the war, my best girl is a Georgia woman, and I grew up in Chicago and New York. So I'm definitely a Yankee. But no, I love Len, I didn't mean to row. I love the War of Northern Aggression, the war between the states. But you called to address a very important issue, so go right ahead.
So here's what. A civil war, by definition, two sides fighting to gain superiority over the same population, correct?
Sure.
The war between the states, it was a war of secession, not a civil war, correct?
Well, I'm not sure that they're mutually exclusive. Once they seceded and created their own, the Confederate States of America. Well, yeah, okay, then they declared themselves to be a separate country, but the war forced them to come back together with the Union, right?
Fair enough. And had the first American War of Secession gone differently, it would have ended up we were still British citizens, would it not have?
Well, that way, yeah, with against the British Crown, yeah, that's sure. We had to kick their butts out first, yeah.
So there you go. First war, American War of Secession, successful. Second American War of Secession, not so.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So I would say the one we're in the early stages of now will be perhaps remembered as the first, should be correctly, in my opinion, the first American Civil War.
As opposed to the Second American Civil War, which I have referred to it as.
And like you say, splitting hairs perhaps, but I think it's a distinction where there is a difference.
Yeah. I like it. I'm nodding. No, I like it. And I understand certainly the Southern perspective on the War of Northern Aggression. And it is my favorite term. I always love it when Southerners call it the War of Northern Aggression. I think it's great, and I think it's funny. And I've never really been caught up in
just for fun, ask a question in AI and use the War of Northern Aggression and let it fuss at you about how that's not a term to be used.
Is that right? I've of course never done that. That's
yes, it is. I was reprimanded by Grok to point out that this is not a good thing.
Who is Grok?
So, anyway. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's
the AI. Yeah,
the robots are taking over. Yeah, it's we're living in a peculiar time. All right, Len, I appreciate your I'll call it a correction. I appreciate your correction and your tone, and it's fun, and it's part of our great history. And we, all these.
Thank you for taking you're calling it a correction. I thank you for taking it in the spirit it was intended. Yeah,
of course. Yeah, we're on Team America, man. It's the 21st century, and I'm not hung up on any of that stuff centuries ago. I just like to point out, Len, that the Democrat Party's history has been erased by the Democrat Party because their history is so sullied. They're a stain on human history, the Democrat Party is, including creating the Confederate States of America and their boy Jefferson Davis. And their boy Nathan Bedford Forrest creating the KKK, and their boy Jim Crow, who was an imaginary person who lived only in their minds. But the Democrats and Sheriff Bull Connor and George Wallace and Herbal Faubus and the whole gang, I just think everybody should know about the real Democrat Party, and I'm sure you appreciate that too, Len. God bless. Fun call. Liked it. There's another Democrat radical member of the House of Representatives who's an extremist anti-American. Her name is Delia Catalina Ramirez. Delia Catalina Ramirez was actually born in Illinois to her parents. Her parents are illegal aliens, is that right? From Guatemala? Her parents, illegal aliens from Guatemala. They're undocumented immigrants from Guatemala. And now she's a member of Congress, and she can't stop complaining about the United States. And listen, she's born and raised in Illinois, and listen to her fake accent.
I'm Congresswoman Delia Catalina Ramirez. I represent Illinois' 3rd Congressional District, representing many parts of the city of Chicago, northwest part. Look, let me be very blunt, and I'm going to just say it.
Be blunt.
The greatest threat to the homeland right now is called the Department of Homeland Security.
Right, yeah. And she's got Ilhan Omar with her there, and this is the Democrat Party. The biggest threat to the homeland is the fact that the United States exists, according to this communist radical.
DHS is not rogue, because when it was built to violate our rights and has been empowered to act with impunity.
Sure it has.
Congress needs to send a message, and it is why we are here today, that we do not consent, nor will we enable DHS and ISIS lawlessness.
Not going to enable that ISIS lawlessness, because why would you do that? And it's lawless. The problem with Homeland is that we have a homeland, and everything has to be defunded. And if the Democrats were to take over the House of Representatives, the Senate, they would reduce the United States to rubble, to the burned-out cinder. This is the left, and they're not liberals, and they're not on our side. And maybe she should go back. I know she's from Illinois, but she should go back to Guatemala.